I sat in the CEO's office, my office now on the 50th floor of Mitchell Industries headquarters, watching through the floor-to-ceiling windows as my family arrived for their 9 a.m. meeting. They didn't know it was with me. The bankruptcy trustees had only told them the building's new owner wanted to discuss their futures. My phone buzzed with a text from my younger sister Rebecca. "This is humiliating enough without you gloating. At least don't come to the building today." If only she knew. 5 years ago I'd sat in this same office, across from my father, presenting my ideas for modernizing the company's outdated technology infrastructure. "Waste of money," he declared, barely glancing at my proposal. "Besides, what do you know about success? You work in IT. The company's systems are obsolete," I'd argued. "We're vulnerable too." "Enough, Emily," he'd snapped. "Know your place. You're the daughter who fixes computers, not the one who runs companies. Leave that to your sister." A week later they'd eliminated my entire department, outsourcing IT to save costs. My own family had laid me off via form letter. "It's nothing personal," Rebecca had said, her newly minted MBA practically radiating from her designer suit. "Just business." Now, watching them file into the lobby through the security cameras, I thought about just business. About how they'd laughed when I'd started my own tech consulting firm. About how they'd mocked my little computer company at every family gathering. They'd stopped laughing 2 months ago when a massive data breach exposed Mitchell Industries' vulnerabilities, exactly what I'd warned them about. The scandal tanked their stock. Clients fled. Bankruptcy followed swiftly. My assistant's voice came through the intercom. "They're all here, Ms. Mitchell. Conference room A." I stood, straightening my suit, not designer but impeccably tailored. Success, I'd learned, didn't need flashy labels. "Tell them the owner will be there shortly," I replied. "And Sarah? Make sure the janitor applications are on the table." Walking to the conference room, I passed the empty desks of laid-off employees. Soon they'd be filled again, but not by the old Mitchell Industries staff. My company, Phoenix Digital Solutions, was moving in next week. I paused outside the conference room, listening to my family's voices. "This is beneath us," my mother was saying. "Begging for jobs from whoever bought the building?" "We don't have a choice," Dad replied grimly. "The trustees seized everything else." "At least Emily isn't here to see this," Rebecca added. "She'd probably love watching us squirm." I opened the door. The looks on their faces as I walked in, dressed in CEO attire, holding the building's ownership documents, were better than any revenge I could have scripted. "Actually," I smiled, sitting at the head of the table, "I wouldn't miss this for the world." Dad's face went pale. Mom's hand flew to her pearls. Rebecca looked like she might faint. "Welcome to the new Mitchell building," I said pleasantly, "soon to be Phoenix Digital's headquarters. I believe you're here about employment opportunities." I slid the applications across the table. "The position of janitor is open," I continued. "Among others. After all, what do I know about success? I just fix computers. Sometimes the best revenge isn't telling people you succeeded, it's letting them apply to work for your success." And I had a feeling this meeting was going to be very, very satisfying. The silence in the conference room was deafening. My father's face had moved from pale to red, his hands gripping the janitor application so tightly the paper crumpled. This is impossible," Rebecca sputtered. "You can't. We checked the buyer's identity." "Shell companies are useful things," I smiled. "Something you might have learned in that MBA program, if you'd paid attention to more than just your job title." Mom found her voice. "Emily, darling, surely we can discuss this as a family." "As a family?" I raised an eyebrow. "Like when you discussed laying me off? Or when you discussed removing me from the holiday card because an IT manager didn't fit the family image?" I opened my laptop, displaying Mitchell Industries' final quarterly reports. "Let's discuss the $142 million in losses from the data breach. The one I warned you about 5 years ago." Dad's jaw clenched. "You couldn't possibly have bought the building. The asking price was $89 million, I finished. Pocket change compared to what Phoenix Digital is worth now. Amazing what can happen when someone actually understands modern technology." I pressed a button on the conference room phone. "Sarah, please bring in the NDAs and severance packages." Rebecca's eyes widened. "Severance packages?" "Of course," I replied. I'm not completely heartless. Unlike some people, I don't deliver bad news via form letter. My assistant entered with the documents. I noticed how my family flinched when they saw her designer suit, the kind Rebecca used to wear. You have two options, I continued, laying out the papers. Option 1. Generous severance packages, enough to live comfortably while you figure out your next steps. Provided you sign the NDAs and never attempt to work in this industry again. And option 2? Mom asked weakly. I tapped the janitor applications. You can apply for available positions. Starting at entry level, of course. No nepotism in my company. This is revenge, Rebecca accused. Pure and simple. No, I corrected. This is business. Nothing personal, remember? I stood and walked to the window looking out at the city skyline. 5 years ago I sat in this building warning you about outdated systems. You didn't just ignore me, you humiliated me. Fired me. Mocked my little computer company. Turning back, I smiled. That little company now has contracts with every major tech firm in the country. We're revolutionizing cybersecurity. And yes, we just bought your building at bankruptcy prices. Dad started to speak, but I held up my hand. The severance packages are generous. The janitor positions pay minimum wage. You have until noon to decide. And if we refuse both? Rebecca challenged. Then you can join the unemployment line like everyone else you've laid off over the years. I gathered my things. Oh, and Rebecca? That corner office you loved so much? It's being turned into a coding boot camp for underprivileged kids. Something actually useful. As I reached the door, Dad finally spoke. Emily, we were wrong. Yes, I agreed. You were. About technology, about business, and most importantly, about me. I nodded to Sarah. Show them out when they're done. And start scheduling interviews for those janitor positions. I have a feeling we'll need them. Walking back to my office, past the Mitchell Industries logo being removed from the walls, I thought about success. About revenge. About justice. My phone buzzed with another text from Rebecca. You've made your point. Now help your family. I typed back, like you helped me? Check the severance packages. Unlike you, I understand the value of cleaning up old messes. Sometimes the best revenge isn't offering them janitor jobs. It's making them realize they're lucky to even have that option. And sometimes, success is the sweetest revenge of all. At exactly 11:59 a.m. my family filed back into my office. Sarah had texted me their reactions as they'd read through the packages, the shock at the severance amounts, the whispered arguments, the gradual acceptance of their new reality. We've made our decisions, Dad said stiffly, holding a stack of papers. I leaned back in my chair, his old chair, and waited. Mom stepped forward first, placing her signed severance agreement on my desk. I'm taking the package, she said quietly. And Emily, I'm sorry. For everything. I nodded, keeping my face neutral. One down. Rebecca went next, but she wasn't holding either the severance papers or the janitor application. Instead, she placed her MBA diploma on my desk. I want to learn, she said, her voice shaking. Actually learn, not just pretend I know everything. If that janitor position is still open, I'll take it. And maybe you could teach me what you know about technology. I studied my sister, really looked at her for the first time in years. Gone was the arrogant executive who'd helped push me out. In her place stood someone finally ready to earn her success. The position starts at 7 a.m., I said. Don't be late. Finally, only Dad remained. He stood there, clutching his papers, looking lost in the office he'd occupied for 30 years. The severance? I asked. He shook his head. No. And no to the janitor position. He took a deep breath. I want to show you something. He opened his briefcase and pulled out a folder, yellowed with age, the edges worn. Inside was my original proposal from 5 years ago, the one he'd dismissed without reading. I kept it, he said softly. Read it every night after the breach happened. Everything you predicted came true. Every solution you proposed could have saved us. He placed the folder on my desk. I'm not asking for a job or money. I'm asking for a chance to say what I should have said 5 years ago. You were right and I was wrong. And I'm proud of you. I picked up the old proposal, remembering the hours I'd spent preparing it, the hope I'd felt, the crushing disappointment of its rejection. The company's installing new security systems next week, I said finally. We could use an experienced consultant to help with the transition. Someone who knows the old system's weaknesses firsthand. Dad's eyes widened. You're offering me a job? I'm offering you a chance to learn from your mistakes, I corrected. Entry level. No special treatment. You'll report to the IT department, the one you eliminated. He nodded slowly. When do I start? Today, I smiled. The IT team is having lunch in the break room. I believe you owe them an apology before anything else. As my family left, Mom to start her new life, Rebecca to get her janitor's uniform, Dad to face the department he'd once dismissed, I looked around the office that now belonged to me. The Mitchell Industries logo was being replaced with Phoenix Digital's emblem, a phoenix rising from digital flames. Below it, our company motto: success isn't inherited, it's earned. My phone buzzed with updates. Our stock was up another 10%, 3 more major clients had signed on, and the coding bootcamp was already oversubscribed. I sent a company-wide email. Welcome to the new era, where everyone gets the chance to prove their worth, even those who once denied others the same opportunity. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just succeeding, it's teaching others how to earn their own success. And sometimes the greatest victory isn't in watching others fall, but in showing them a better way to rise.